Hello there. What's going on, everybody? I've had a couple of requests since the Superstar Destroyer came out to do a build that uses, one of the higher end Superstar Destroyers, as well as do a Battle of Endor fleet. So I decided I'd kind of combine both of those together and come up with an Executor 2 Endor fleet. So we're going to start off with an Executor 2, and I want to throw a couple of disclaimers out there. I thought trying to go too much like the exact Battle of Endor might not be as much fun, primarily because that would have me, as my commander, that would have me using Piet. And for a really big Battle of Endor, I mean, it's going to have to be a lot of points, over 1,000 points, I decided. That in order to do that, I would really be making a terrible fleet, because Piet is not going to be that efficient in a 1,000-point list, because he really just helps a single ship. So I decided I did not want to go with Piet. So I decided, if I was going to take some liberties, I would have more of a list that's inspired by the Battle of Endor, but not a strictly thematic list, because I just don't like that. And then also I would have to use the Executor title, and while that's not necessarily terrible, I don't want to use that. I don't think that would be as much fun in a big battle. So the idea for this is Battle of Endor is going to change a little bit. And one of the main things I'm going to do that's different is I'm going to use the Ravager instead of the Executor, because, hey, I love concentrate fire. I enjoy this a little bit more. And if I'm going to actually do a battle report with this type of, if I'm going to do, this big battle, let's have it be from the standpoint that I'm in charge of things, and I'm going to send Piet off to a different moon, because maybe he screwed up and he let an A-Wing take down his ship, right? Of course, it wasn't just the A-Wing, but I'm going to take Jerjerrod, who is going to be a lot better, especially for the Superstar Destroyer, as well as the rest of your fleet, and now have Jerjerrod run the naval battle, and maybe Piet is off doing something else. So Jerjerrod's like, all right. So I'll take the Ravager in for battle. And so change things up a little bit if I could do a what if. So the idea for this is, for a lot of my big battles, I decided, I came up with 1,400 points was what I was going to run. Another liberty that I have taken is that there are ISD-1s and ISD-2s at the Battle of Endor, as well as a couple of ships that we don't have. I believe there was a Tector there or whatever. Instead of ISD-1s and ISD-2s, I decided to go with Simoons and Kuats, just because they work a little better in-game, and they're going to be a little bit better for what I want. So, since they were predominantly the majority of ships, I'm going to run 2 Simoons and 2 Kuats, but I'm going to make them identical. So I'm going to just do, let's do the Simoon first, because I'm not going to give them too much stuff, but I'm going to give them a couple of upgrades. And one of the reasons I like to make them identical is simply for the fact that it makes it a lot easier when you have a big game. Hey, all of these ships are doing this, and all of these ships are doing that. So of course I'm going to give them gunnery team, and I'll do the Executor build last, because that's going to have the most stuff. That's the one ship I'm loading up to the gills. So what I'm going to do is we're going to add some turbo lasers, and we're going to put spinal armament on each of these Simoons, and we're going to put XI-7. That's generally solid. That's a pretty good build. I'm going to put one of the new upgrades on this one, though, and that's going to be the Expert Shield Tech, to kind of give them a little survivability, and it's a decent little officer to put on there. So I'm going to run 2 of those, and there they are. Now for our Kuats, and I think the Kuats will maybe run a little bit to try to get people who want to come and flank the Executor. They can kind of stay maybe a little bit more in the back. They're going to be a little bit more skimpy. And we're only going to have 2 upgrades. Since they're black dice heavy, we're going to run Ordnance Experts. And since I think their path is going to be determined based on where the Superstar Destroyer goes, I'm going to assume that I'll either not have a shot, and that's fine because nobody's trying to flank, or I will have a shot, and it'll be with expanded launchers, 2 extra black dice in the front arc. And I'll run 2 of those. And those guys are basically there just to protect the rear and sides of the SSD. And then, of course, if they happen to get some good shots in, then so be it. So there's my 2 Kuats, and then there's my 2 Simoons. Now that's going to be the bulk of the fleet right there. And you can see we're already up to 974, and I haven't even put upgrades on the Executor yet. So let's go ahead and do the Executor now. I'll do that one now, or rather the Ravager. And yeah, so I'm going to start off with I want to make this ship kind of dual purpose, but really good all around. So since I don't have Vader as my commander, and I've had limited success with Krennic, even though I like Krennic, I've had limited success with him. I'm going to use leading shots as my reroll option. So we've got leading shots up there, and to help, and I think I'm going to use every single icon. I'm going to do heavy ions on this one also. I mean, it's just it's overall good blue upgrade. Now, with my 2 turbo lasers, the first one is I'm going to go with quad battery turrets. It's great on an SSD. People are going to want to flank me. I'm going to get blue dice at long range, which I can then spend for leading shots, or if it's a crit, trigger heavy ions. It's going to be good. Every single option is going to be good with that blue die. And if I don't like it, I can spend it to re-roll other dice if I need to. And then lastly, we have a couple of options here. I'm going to go with linked turbo laser towers. This one with 3 attacks from the SSD, this is going to give me 3 dice to reroll, so I'm getting a lot more bang for my buck. And if I decide to, I've got a squadron that I absolutely have to kill, I'm going to have 3 dice already from the SSD. I'll get 2 more from this. I can reroll a red in there, which effectively makes red even better than black. I mean, that's just great. It's great for everything. So I love that. All right, so we've got some great attacking options here, and we are going to add gunnery team, of course, because gunnery team is absolutely crucial for an SSD. Now we have some extra room. Now I want this ship also to be able to defend itself from squadrons, because we may face a lot of those, so I'm going to give it counter 1, which is going to be amazing. And then, of course, I will also, if I'm going that route, I'll put point defense reroute on here also, so now I can reroll my crits, which is also super, super good. And if I am going anti-squadron, I've got to put Callus on there as well to kind of round out the ship. And now between Ravager, if I have only 1 ace to shoot at, I can get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, even 8 dice on a single squadron if I need to. Just absolutely insane. I'm going to put Intensify Firepower on there to support the fleet. We'll be able to get those tokens easily. I'll be also adding a Gazanti later on to pass some tokens over, and just in case I need to do that as well. But I want to make sure I've got the ability to hit the Concentrate Fire command, because one of the problems that I've been running into with something like Ravager is that I get sliced, and I can't do the command that I want to do so desperately bad. So I am going to come in here, and I'm going to pick my an officer I used to never ever pick, but I'm gonna go with, oh gosh, where is it? We're gonna find this happy little officer. It's basically command manipulation. Before you, wow, where is it? I can't find. I'm probably staring right at it. There we go, tactical expert. Yeah, before you reveal a command, you may change that command to a concentrate fire command. Now, what that means is that I'm never going to actually plan a concentrate fire dial. I can always just plan nav and engineering, or maybe even squadrons, but I think I'll probably always plan either nav or engineering, and or I probably won't even need nav because Jerjerrod, so I can plan any other command I want, probably a lot of engineering, maybe some nav also, depending if we start at speed 2. Then I've got tactical expert to guarantee, I can take that concentrate fire anytime I want, when I have the shot. Since I've got Jerjerrod, I also have to do Ozzel. I love that ability to do a turn 1 move, and then with the speed 2, it's just, the 2 yaw is amazing. And I'm going to put damage control expert in there, because if I'm facing 1,400 points of stuff, there's going to be some nasty crits. And I think we've used every single slot on the Executor 2-star Dreadnought. It's completely full. It can do a little bit of everything here, and we've got shields for days. We've got a lot of stuff. I can definitely see doing engineering an awful lot. We're going to take a lot of fire on this ship, that's for sure. So we've got some major firepower. We're over 1,000 points right now, and now I want to add some squadrons, and I'll balance it out with a couple extra ships. Now I'm not going to go super crazy squadrons because I don't necessarily want this to be a build that takes 14 hours to run. So I'm going to go with a modest amount of points, kind of light. But I'm kind of representing what's there. So we got TIE fighters, we had TIE interceptors, and there were even some TIE bombers. And if I wanted, I could probably add a Lambda, but the Lambda wasn't really participating in the battle. It was kind of there for Luke to evacuate with afterwards. So I think I'm just going to stick with bombers, interceptors, and TIE fighters. There was probably more TIE fighters than anything else. So I'm going to go with 6 TIE fighters and 4 interceptors, and only 2 bombers. Now that gives me 12 squadrons. That's only 110 points. So again, it's a lighter amount of squadrons, but that's really in the interest of making sure that the game doesn't take a million years. And it's enough of a screen that you'll be able to get some of the thematic presence of the squadrons that are on the ground. So I said I was going to add a Gazanti also. I'm going to add a Gazanti. We'll add it right here with CommsNet. Simple Gazanti, just for passing tokens, primarily to keep the SSD being able to trigger. It's the Intensify Firepower. And we've also got, I'm going to add, this is going back into like the newer canon, but we know that Inferno Squad was at the Battle of Endor. So I'm going to add a Raider 2 class Corvette, which was the classification of the Corvus. We will make it the Corvus, and we'll make it a little bit thematic. We'll put Iden Versio on the Corvus. And so now we're getting to be a nice little ship. Iden Versio does make the Corvus very, very cool, and she can be found, both of these new cards can be found in the Rebellion in the Rim. And if we want to make this ship a little bit deadly also, we can put heavy ions on the ship, as well as disposable capacitors. Now we've got a very, very nasty ship. And we'll add another new option. Let's add weapons battery techs as well. This kind of gives me that accuracy to crit. So this means that ship can really make sure it gets in there and drains some shields off of another ship. Almost absolutely guaranteed. You just have to roll all hits, and anything other than a hit, you've got it guaranteed. So awesome ship. Pretty survivable too. And it gives you that ability where you can deploy it first, then start dropping all these squadrons, and then move it later. So you got a lot of flexibility on the Corvus. Now, we also know that there was an interdictor, or at least one interdictor, at the Battle of Endor. I believe there were multiple interdictors, but I'm going to add one. I don't want to go completely overkill here, and we'll add the suppression refit. And I will add the interdictor title, since it was the interdictor. I want targeting scrambler to protect the Superstar Destroyer at close range. And I will also put the Gravwell projector, since I think that's going to hit an awful lot of ships. And that is also very thematic here. You're only meant to keep them from escaping. You can keep an awful lot of them from escaping or flanking your SSD in this way. Now we're getting awfully close to our points limit of 1,400. And I'm going to add one last ship to help me activate these squadrons. And we're just going to go with a Quasar 1. And now this was not at the Battle of Endor, but it fits perfectly and brings me up to 1,400 points. And I'll just go ahead and say that this is a Quasar that Jared Gerard decided to bring in. It was his his brother's Quasar. He loaned it to him. He flew it into the battle. He's like, well, if I'm taking over, I'm bringing the Fortress Maximus, is what he's calling it. He's calling it Fortress Maximus. And it's going to help it be another activation and to push some of these fighters, whereas I've got a lot of other ships that can push the fighters, especially the SSD and the Simoons can help push those fighters as well. But I think I'm going to want to focus them on navving and then maybe eventually concentrate firing, like try to ending the battle as fast as possible. This guy can, he can definitely push these guys, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. So that's basically what we're going to do. And that's 1,400 points. Now, I don't imagine a 1,400 point game really using objectives. If so, it would be like Most Wanted or something like that. But it will probably be just a game where you pass initiative, first player, second player, first player, second player, first player, second player, back and forth. And yeah, it ought to be fun though. If we can fit it all on a 6x3 board, then that would be great. It sounds like it's more built for a bigger game than that, but stay tuned. Maybe you'll see a battle report with this game. I would love to hear what you guys think, though. Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to enter that giveaway for the $25 Amazon gift card. You just have to be a subscriber. Leave a comment on this or one of my videos. And I am using Ryan Kingston's Fleet Builder. I will put a link in the description below. Make sure you let me know what you think of the build, and be sure to check out Ryan Kingston's Fleet Builder. If you donate, you get to save your fleets on his website, so toss him a donation. It's a great site. It's a great builder. Helps make the game better and easier to do list building. So big thanks to Ryan Kingston. Big thanks to all of my patrons on Patreon. You guys definitely help make this all possible. So I'll thank you guys so much for your continued support. And look at this thing. Look at that. That's crazy. That's a big list. And there's 2 pages of it. That's a lot of list. All right. Well, I will talk to you guys later. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.